What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we have pretty much everything we need over here to wrap up getting this 110 rebuilt today. I redid the floors and the walls of the garage, so everything's kind of scattered about right now, but don't judge me too hard because I'm not finished painting or doing the epoxy. So anyways, we got a lot of these parts off of fasterminis.com, so shout out to those guys for helping me out. A lot of the parts you see here are ordered from that website, so go check them out. I got my plastics all ready to go. Foot pegs, skid plate, the wheels and everything came back from W, which look awesome. I'm really excited to get these things mounted up. Suspension's all dialed. Might be missing a few parts here and there. We're gonna find out as we kind of go along and build this thing, but should have this thing wrapped up in a rolling motorcycle today. So really excited about that and stoked to bring you guys along for the whole process because this thing looks like it's gonna come together really cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that skid plate on and then get this thing on the stand, and we will update you guys here in just a little bit. So our skid plate's all on. I think the next thing that I'm gonna do is go ahead and throw the new shock and these foot pegs on. One with a pretty simple shock setup. This, again, I got off Faster Minis, as well as these pretty standard super stock, I'm pretty sure they're IMS foot pegs. So go ahead and throw those things on and we'll get to moving on the rest of the parts. All right, so we got the shock on, we got the foot pegs on. I went ahead and threw the stock pipe back on. The reason that I'm running that is mainly just because of sound. Yeah, you can make a little bit more power, but I kind of want to keep this thing more of like urban trails type riding. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave the stock pipe. Maybe I'll upgrade that later on, but for now, stock pipe. Went ahead and put the disc on the front wheel and this really cool, this is not a sponsorship by the way. I just really like the way that these, I think they're called Dirt Star sprockets look, and they're black. So that was a must for me. Looks really good on these wheels. And now I think what I'm gonna get into is trying to assemble the front end. I was kind of up in the air about throwing the plastics on first, but I'm really interested to see how this front end fits on here. I showed this in an earlier video, but I've made this fender adapter kit for, you know, this is a 50 front end and an old 50 front end for that matter. Also, it didn't have a steering stop, so I added this little piece there and then a hole for the bolt to go in. So I'm gonna see how this fits on, as well as these Marzocchi forks. So I'll go ahead and throw this on the tripod and see if we can get this front end on this bike. There we have it. Front end is all on. Really stoked to see this thing kind of come together. This is kind of a Frankenstein build because these are 50 forks on a 110 setup. I will link the info in the bio on where I got the stem, as well as the light bar setup. All came from the same guy. Super stoked that I got in touch with him. But yeah, stoked on the way this came out. Full disclosure, the one thing that's gonna keep me from riding this thing is I don't have the bottom race for the clamp that I have to get pressed in. The one for the stock setup, this bottom race right here, I could not get this off. Obviously, can't get a screwdriver in there to push that off because it's pressed on there pretty good. And the bottom is welded, so I can't use a press. So I had to order a new one of those. So full disclosure, I'm not gonna be able to ride this, but for the sake of getting this video out on time and seeing what this looks like for you guys, I wanted to throw the forks on and get the rest of the bike built up. It's such a minor update, I'll just kind of tell you guys later in the video when I get that stuff in. But yeah, now, man, I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and throw, I think, the bar setup on now, the clamps and everything, then we'll get to the plastics. So yeah, check back in just a little bit. So I got the bars all on. I went with the Pro Taper XR50 bend, mainly because they're the right height for, I don't know, for my height, I guess. I know they're a little wider, I think, than maybe the 110 stuff, but I don't know, this is just the bar that I always ran on 110. I think now what I'm gonna get done is putting the plastics on. These, again, came from Faster Minis. The graphics are by SKDA. They did an awesome job replicating my big bike graphics. And the reason that I went with 160, this is the number that I'm gonna be racing with this year. Having, you know, no ties to permanent number anymore with 14. I've been switching it up here and there and just kind of seeing what number fits right and just kind of playing with everything. So yeah, that's the story behind 160. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and throw the front fender on. This thing should start looking like a motorcycle here pretty soon. All right, so we got the front fender all on. My design here needs a little tweaking here and there, but I'll do that another day. For now, like I said, just to kind of get the bike, you know, complete and take notes and I did end up finding my front number plate mount that I made out of 3D print. You can see it through there. It actually ended up working out perfect. I made these measurements off of kind of the stock steering stem measurements, and it ended up working on here, so stoked on that. I will need to kind of make a key mount. I did have this piece made. I designed this on a CAD software and had it laser cut and bent, but it doesn't really allow enough room, and I might need to make another mount to go through these holes. The original one looks like this, which is way too big, and these extra wire guides aren't really needed anymore for what I'm doing. So what I did was basically just remake this part. But again, that needs some adjustment. So as far as the key and gas light, which I don't have the little fixture in there right now, as far as the stuff goes, this will also have to wait for another day before that to get mounted. But again, I just want to get this thing looking like a complete bike. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this on the tripod. We'll do a little time lapse of putting on the plastics, and we'll update here in a second. Actually, before we start the time lapse of the plastics, I wanted to show you guys that I rigged up this light bar switch. So that's where the light bar will plug in. Light bar switch will probably be mounted somewhere down here. This is the wiring, which obviously I need to kind of tuck in here and zip tie. And then I went ahead and used one of my Sealy Speed Factory AirTag holders. This just kind of utilizes these two posts that hold everything together. You can zip tie it pretty much anywhere. I figured this would be nice. I kind of pulled this out to show you guys, but when I tuck it into this little cubby in here, it'll be nice and hidden, can't get stolen, and if the bike ever gets stolen, I'll know exactly where it is. So those again are available on my website. I've sold quite a few of those. Thank you to those who have bought them, but now we will continue on with the time lapse. So we got all our plastics on and our seat on. Everything's looking really good. Going together somewhat easy. It's always a lot easier taking these things apart than it is putting them back together. Just little tweaks here and there, just remembering exactly how everything goes back together. But I think I'm gonna start on the wheels now. I don't have a chain breaker. That's one other part that I got this DID gold chain. That's one other piece that might have to wait a minute. So this thing will be like 95% complete, but we'll go ahead and throw the wheels and the brake parts on, and yeah, this is coming along nicely. All right, the wheels are all on. Last little bit is to put the rear brake setup on, the front brake setup on. Looking at it from the side, I know it's not sitting perfectly level in the stand, but the forks might need to come up in the clamps a little bit. Again, once I get that race, I can adjust all this stuff. I'm gonna have to take these forks back off to do that, but the thing looks so sweet. I'm really excited and really happy with the way that these forks turned out. Everything went together pretty easily. Some of the parts that I made need a little bit of adjusting, like I said, but all in all, it's coming along really good. One thing I also forgot to get was a grip, because this grip is like crazy glued onto this throttle tube. So I'm just gonna run this for now, order a new throttle tube, and then I got some Renthal grips to throw on here. Go ahead and button this up, throw on the rear brakes, throw on the front brakes, and it'll be pretty much 95% finished by the time this video is over. All right, brakes are all mounted up. Now I think I'm gonna switch over to the controls. Just mount the throttle up, the kill switch, and that light bar switch. Guys, so we're pretty much wrapped up. Things looking really awesome. I'm really stoked on all the progress we made today. Got this thing looking like a dirt bike finally. Again, I'm gonna have to kind of adjust some stuff with the steering race. I gotta put the chain on and a few little leads here and there that need to be buttoned up. But all in all, everything came out really well. That last clip I got the throttle on, then my camera died. So I went ahead and rigged up the on and off switch, and this will be for the light, which I'll mount up and show you guys in another video, but really happy with everything, really stoked on just the progress that we made. Thank you to everyone that was a part of this, SKDA, Faster Minis, huge shout out to them because they were a big help in getting me parts. So it was Alex getting me the stem and all the other parts like the light bar. and just making life a lot easier. Thank you guys, and tune in for next week. I'll have a little bit more progress made on this thing as well as some of the other bikes up on the rack over there. But again, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in next week's video.